What is up, everybody? Welcome to the MMA Engine and welcome to the main event deep dive for UFC 274. We have Charles Oliveira going against Justin Gaethje. Absolutely cannot wait for this fight. Cannot wait to break it down. Going to be talking about everything from the tail of the tape to all the stats to the betting, just everything. We're going to go really deep into it. As always, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe here to the MMA Engine. It is always much, much appreciated. I am here with Weezy. Weezy, you looking forward to breaking down this main event?
Yeah, man, totally. This is such a great fight, dude. I mean, Oliveira, Gaethje, these guys are both finishers. They're both exciting fighters. They're both like at the absolute top of their game in a great division that's really deep. This is a hell of a title fight, and I can't wait to break it down with you.
Heck yeah. I feel like we were just talking a little bit ago on Stat Diggers, but well, wait, we were.
You're correct about that. It was just a little bit ago.
I kind of like the back-to-back episode. It's pretty cool here. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. Prince saying back-to-back shows. I love it. By the way, Charles sub 234 is plus 370 on fan. Like that's how I see the fight going. I see like a Charles second round sub. Weezy, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, plus 370, man. I mean, that's kind of nice. I mean, like the only thing that you're leaving out is that round one sub, and then you can maybe sprinkle that in there to play it safe. I like it.
Yeah, it's not terrible. That's kind of how I see the fight. Charles sub round 2-3. We got Joey in the chat saying back-to-back episode. Let's go. Cannot wait for this one. Big Checks only saying, oi, Big Checks. What's up? We got Victor in the chat as well. What's up? Cannot wait for this fight. And I'm right there with you. And a lot of people right there with you. This fight is phenomenal. This card is phenomenal. And I say we dig right into it here. We had the main event, 274. Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. We'll start with Charles Oliveira. He's 32 years old, 5'10", with a 74-inch reach. Justin Gaethje, 33 years old, 5'11", with a 70-inch reach. We have Oliveira, who's going to be 1 year younger, but it's going to be Gaethje, who's going to have a 1-inch height advantage, and it's going to be Oliveira, who has a 4-inch reach advantage. I will take a look at their last few fights. We have Oliveira, who is 5-0 in his last 5 fights, a knockout win against Jared Gordon, a submission win against Kevin Lee, a decision win against Tony Ferguson, a knockout win against Michael Chandler, and then just recently a submission win against Dustin Poirier in that 3rd round. And Charles Oliveira is on a massive win streak. I'm going to count the wins: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fight win streak for Charles Oliveira. This guy's on some run. As far as Justin Gaethje, is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, a knockout win against Edson Barbosa, a knockout win against Donald Cerrone, knockout win against Tony Ferguson, submission loss to Khabib, and then a decision win going against Michael Chandler. So yeah, both these guys are very, very good. This main event's phenomenal, Weezy.
It's so good. And I mean, you look at the names on this streak: Clay Guida, Yagos, Jim Miller, David Tamer. That's the good Tamer. Nick Lentz, Jared Gordon, Kevin Lee, El Kukui, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. I mean, my God, what a run. The last guy to beat him was Paul Felder. Paul Felder was the last guy to beat this guy, knocked him out. Unbelievable. This is such a good fight, Brady. We got an experience advantage here for Charles Oliveira. He's got 15 more professional fights than Justin Gaethje. He's got about 50 more minutes in the pro cage and about 3 more years as a pro. Also 20 more UFC level fights and about 120 more minutes or 110 more minutes in the UFC cage. So yeah, big experience advantage here for Oliveira. When we look at the finish stats, both of these guys are incredible finishers. 87% finish rate for Justin Gaethje, 83% by KO in the UFC. He's finished 5 of his 6 UFC wins inside the distance. For Oliveira, he's finished 18 of his 20 UFC wins inside the distance, a 90% finish rate in the UFC in 20 wins. That's unbelievable. And he's been finished in 7 of his 8 losses. So, a little quick math there. We see 26 of Charles Oliveira's 29 fights have finished inside the distance. And this is a 5-round fight, not a 3-round fight. So we've got 2 guys here that are finishers of the absolute highest order. And in 11 combined losses, Brady, 10 of them inside the distance. And I think that, Charles was getting a knock earlier in his career that he wasn't durable or that he was a quitter. But really, I think the way that our Oliveira fights and I think the way that Gaethje fights, it just lends itself to somebody, getting knocked out, to somebody getting finished. Both of these guys fight in such a frenetic way that, it's like two trains headed towards each other on the same track. I mean, it's just going to be destruction. And it's not surprising that these guys are not only finishing, but getting finished the way that both of these guys fight.
Yeah, and what I like about Oliveira, especially in his 5-round fights as of late, and by the way, Bootsy is liking some Justin Gaethje there, but what I like about Oliveira is there's no feeling out process. Like in a 5-round fight, and against Poirier, as soon as the fight started, he was pressuring Poirier right away. There's no feeling out process for Charles Oliveira. There's no feeling out process for Justin Gaethje. Both of these guys are going to want to pressure the other guy. Oliveira is going to try to knock out Gaethje. Gaethje is going to try to knock out Oliveira. Oliveira, most importantly, is going to try to get it down to the mat. Both these fighters are so dangerous, like two of the most dangerous fighters in the division going against each other. We will talk about the odds for the fight goes and fight doesn't go, but you got to believe this fight is going to end inside the distance more often than not. Just the style of fight this is in general, but just with these guys, they're so dangerous. You got Oliveira, who's dangerous on the feet, very dangerous on the mat, and then Justin Gaethje, who hits like an absolute truck. So yeah, absolutely, this fight should finish. The odds are indicating that. The finish rates are indicating that. The prop template will be indicating that Thursday, I'm sure. This fight has violence written all over it.
All over it. And I mean, both of these guys have some pretty good power numbers. Both of these guys have been knocked down. Neither one of these guys is sporting a striking defense percentage that would make your eyes open and go, wow, they're very defensively responsible. It's really not the case. Oliveira lands 3.44 per minute, absorbs 3.13. He throws a little more volume than his opponents, landing at a 53% accuracy, and landed 6 knockdowns in 702 significant strikes landed. That's 0.44 knockdowns per 15 minutes. And he's absorbing half that in terms of 0.22 knockdowns allowed per 15 minutes. Gaethje is throwing 12 and a half strikes a minute, and his opponents are throwing 17 and a half strikes a minute. So Gaethje's fights are taking place at distance at a much higher percentage than Charles Oliveira's fights are. So but it's Gaethje who's getting out volumed, but the striking accuracy at 60% is incredible over a 9-fight sample size. He's landed 4 knockdowns in 9 fights, so he does have some power, and he's getting his knockdowns per 15 minutes at a better rate than Oliveira, as he's getting him 0.65 and Oliveira 0.44. So I'd say Gaethje, has a little more power on the feet. Those low leg kicks are absolutely something that you have to watch out for. He goes to them early and often, and in a 5-round fight, you're not going to be able to take too many of those before your mobility gets compromised, your ability to be able to shoot takedowns gets compromised, and your ability to be able to use your feet in order to defend, absolutely, is going to slow you down if you're absorbing a lot of those kicks. So I think the low calf kicks of Gaethje are going to make a big difference in this fight. But Oliveira's got a 4-inch reach advantage here. He should be the longer guy. It's going to be good on the feet. I think the longer that this stays on the feet, it obviously favors Gaethje, just because that's the style of fight that he prefers to fight. We know how talented of a submission grappler Oliveira is, so I'm sure Oliveira would be happy to have this fight on the ground more minutes than it's on the feet. But Gaethje has been very good at keeping fights on the feet thus far, Brady. 2.12% control time allowed and 4.29% control time for. So that's, less than 7% of his fights that are taking place in control time positions, which means he's striking 93% of the time. That's where he wants to be. We see Oliveira's fights are taking place in control time positions about 59% of the time. So he's going to be much more comfortable in the grappling realm.
Yeah, for sure. Banana saying Oliveira say he wants to stand and trade with Gaethje. I mean, I wouldn't really recommend that. But yeah, on the feet, it's going to be competitive. But what stuck out to me with Oliveira is this guy is getting hurt quite a bit against Michael Chandler. Like, remember how Chandler was so close to getting him out of there in the first round. And then same thing with Dustin Poirier. Like, Poirier hurt Oliveira like bad in the first round a couple times. So he's getting hurt. It's just they're not able to put him away. standing and trading with Gaethje is just probably not the best idea in the world. If I was Oliveira, I'd more so want to pressure him, push him up against the cage, and try to work his way down to the mat. Because we'll talk about the grappling in a little bit. I think the discrepancy on the ground is a lot wider than it is on the feet. Could you agree with that?
Say that one more time.
There's a bigger skill gap on the ground than on the feet.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely there is. I mean, this guy Oliveira, dude, he's the only person to submit Darren Elkins in the UFC, and Elkins is still fighting, you know. He's absolutely the better submission grappler here, and you know, he should be trying to get this fight to the ground as much as possible. And I think it's, if we just look at the Tony Ferguson fight, Brady, you know, Oliveira may have said, I don't know if he did or not, but, you know, he may have said, oh, I'll stand and bang with Tony Ferguson. But the reality is that he took him down in all 3 rounds and controlled Tony Ferguson for 700 seconds of a 900-second fight. And that would have been Oliveira's path of least resistance. So will he take the path of least resistance against Justin Gaethje? If you're betting on Oliveira, you better fucking hope so, because you're going to be screaming at the TV, take this guy down if he stands in front of him. That being said, the pressure that we've seen from Oliveira in the last couple of fights on the feet could pose a lot of problems for Justin Gaethje. It's really hard to fight, you know, when somebody's in your face and pressuring you, especially when that person is the better grappler. That's why the pressure game of Khabib Nurmagomedov was unmatched in the UFC. It's because when you combine the pressure with that grappling advantage, it just makes it a really hard fight to win.
Yeah, for sure. MA saying Oliveira is going to walk him down, just cannot fight backwards. Yeah, I think whoever's coming forward is going to have success in this fight. You do not want to be going backwards if you're a Charles Oliveira with Justin Gaethje coming at you. I think Oliveira is going to want to pressure immediately, and I think he will do that like he did against Poirier.
I think that that's what he's going to do as well. I mean, I think the better grappler should always be the one pressuring. We just recently saw Mackenzie Dern fight Tisha Torres, and that's the first time we saw Dern walking forward for the entire fight, and she looked so good in that fight because she fought the correct game plan. So if my money's on Oliveira this week, and I haven't put any money down on this fight yet, still waiting for the props to open, see which way the lines go. But if I'm betting on Charles Oliveira, I want him shooting takedowns. I want him pressuring Justin Gaethje.
100%. David saying reinventing Gaethje in his only loss to Khabib, and everyone did too. If Gaethje knocks Olives down once, he's not getting back up. And Mbaye saying that why does people think Gaethje has this amazing one-punch power? I think Gaethje has very, very good power. And I kind of agree with David. I'm not sure, like, if he knocks down Oliveira, really get back up. I'm not sure. He was able to against Chandler and Poirier, but I don't know. Getting hit by Gaethje is a little bit different.
Yeah, and Gaethje doesn't need to have one-punch power because he brings the conditioning and the pressure himself, and he works so well to the body and to the legs that attritional style lends itself to power later on in the fight anyway. It allows you to be able to break dudes. And frankly, in my personal opinion, breaking your opponent through volume and attrition is 10 times more impressive than getting a one big punch, because the one big punch is just that puncher's chance at the end of the day. But if you're the type of fighter, Brady, that's winning more minutes as the fight goes on and drowning your opponents with volume and the correct game plan when you're bringing that volume and the pressure, that's the kind of fighter that not only wins minutes, but finishes fights. And who else would you rather bet on than that archetype of fighter? The minute winner and the finisher.
Yeah, 100%, dude. So let's talk about these takedown numbers because, yeah, Justin Gaethje, only one takedown attempt, did not get it. Oliveira, 82 takedowns. It's pretty clear who's going to go for takedowns in this fight. If Gaethje goes for takedowns, I would be completely shocked and he'd get submitted shortly after. But yeah, Oliveira is going to need to get this fight down to the mat, and I think he will try to do that. What do you think, Weezy? That's the takedown.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you guys who haven't learned how to count yet, 82 is way more than one, so it's going to be Oliveira most likely. Now, this is what you got your Uncle Weezy for, is when the numbers get difficult. And I'm telling you that Oliveira is going to be the one to wrestle here, man. Gaethje, it's nice when we have a fighter like Gaethje, right? Because we know what he wants to do. We don't ever have to think like, oh, I wonder if Gaethje's gonna get his wrestling involved this time around. No, he's not. And it doesn't matter if he's the way better wrestler and if the guy's way better on the feet than him. He wants to win on the feet. That's the way he fights. So Charles is good everywhere. Charles can win on the feet. He used to be a pure grappler when he first came into the UFC when he was young, when he was like 19, 20 years old. But this kid is now 32 years old. He's grown up in the UFC. He's got a 14-year career, but about 12 or 13 of it has been at the UFC level. So he's continuously gotten better as a striker and rounded out his game. And he already had the kind of grappling that can completely change fights and make his striking look even better than it really is, because you're so worried about the takedown attempt. You're so worried about the grappling that sometimes this guy can get really sneaky with the striking as well. But I mean, Oliveira, not as committed as a wrestler as you would think, Brady, right? I mean, for somebody that's as good of a grappler as he is, for somebody that's as deadly in the submission grappling, he's only attempted 82 takedowns in just under 30 fights. So that's not even 3 takedown attempts per fight. So Oliveira is comfortable everywhere. And his opponents have actually tried to take him down too, which is kind of surprising. You'd think that people wouldn't be trying to take down Charles Oliveira, but they absolutely have. And he welcomes it. He only has 57% takedown defense. That won't matter in this fight. I mean, if Justin Gaethje shoots a takedown, I mean, he's in trouble. If he shoots a takedown, he's in fucking trouble. That means that everything is already falling apart like a Chinese motorcycle for him, and it's just a matter of time before the ref steps in and stops the fight. So, yeah, man, Oliveira, we'll see how committed he is to going to the wrestling, but I think the Tony Ferguson fight is an excellent indication that when Charles has a grappling advantage, that he's going to use it. And I think that this is one of the spots that he's going to be looking to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, I think that's a really good point you brought up that, Gaethje's going to have to worry about the takedown. Like, why wouldn't you worry about the takedown against Charles Oliveira? He's got to know that if this fight hits the mat at any point, he's going to get submitted shortly after. And kind of saw the same thing with Khabib. Like, Khabib was able to have success in the striking, maybe because Gaethje was worried about that takedown, and rightfully so. But I think it was a really interesting point. Gaethje's going to be worrying about those takedowns. Maybe that, allows Oliveira to have a little bit more success in the striking.
Yeah, and he's already good. We already know that he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. And I mean, to think that Charles Oliveira has a higher percentage of knockdowns per total significant strikes landed than Justin Gaethje does. And Gaethje's had 9 fights, but Oliveira's had 29. And over that huge sample size, he's actually landing more knockdowns. And I think that could be as much a reflection of the fact that he's a good striker as it is that he's an even better grappler, and that sometimes you don't expect the big strikes from the grappler, but because you're worrying about the takedowns, your striking defense isn't as good as it would normally be when you're comfortable knowing that your opponent isn't a threat on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. This comment's interesting. Gutierrez Silva saying they're the 2 most improved fighters of the decade. Do you guys agree? I think Oliveira most definitely, especially in this division, is probably one of the most, if not the most improved fighter. I mean, you take a look earlier in his career, he was labeled as a quitter. He was labeled as a gasser when things got tough. He said to quit. And now look at him now. He's on a 10-fight win streak. So I'll say Oliveira, but yeah, Gaethje's made improvements as well. So yeah, I think both guys are very much improved, but especially on the Oliveira side. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Oliveira has evolved more.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Justin Gaethje had really evolved and improved as much as Charles Oliveira, we'd see Gaethje mixing in the wrestling against, like in the Edson Barbosa fight. Now, I know he went out there and destroyed Barbosa in round 1, and I was blown away by that, right? But like, you'd think, that you got a D1 division background. Why not try to take down Edson? Everyone else has done it. Everyone else has been successful doing it, but not Gaethje. So I think that Oliveira is more improved because he's not only gotten better in the striking, but he's decided, I'm going to actually use that. we haven't seen Gaethje evolve to the point where he's actually used that D1 wrestling background to maybe get to rest in a fight, to win some minutes on the ground, make it a little bit easier on him, not be in these attritional wars, that really take their toll.
Yeah, and I thought he did better against Tony Ferguson. He didn't go out there and fight like a complete idiot like he like he kind of usually does, going out there throwing caution to the wind. He was kind of more technical. He managed his gas tank and was able to put on a good performance against Ferguson there. So I like that performance. But yeah, Oliveira, I mean, this guy is well rounded. He's really good on the feet, very dangerous. He has really sneaky power as well. Like he hurt Chandler very, very bad. He's able to finish him there. And then on the mat, I mean, there's not many guys in the UFC that is better than Oliveira on the mat. So just a very dangerous fighter overall. Let's take a look at the strength of schedule a little bit. I'm curious to see what this says, Weezy.
Yeah, so I mean, both guys have fantastic strengths of schedule, obviously. Both of these guys are fighting on the average, Brady, a UFC opponent with about 17 and a half UFC fights. That's crazy. That's just bonkers. The average record of a Charles Oliveira opponent, 10.83 wins, 6.66 losses. The average record of a Gaethje opponent, 12.11 wins and 5.67 losses. So the ratio of 2.14 is better than Oliveira's. So I like Gaethje's strength of schedule overall. Look at the wins. Better ratio and more total fights for Gaethje as well there. So I like the wins better for Gaethje. And even the losses, the guys that are beating Justin Gaethje have a 3.78 win-to-loss ratio, an average record of 11.33 wins and 3 losses. So, yeah, I mean, just on the metrics as a whole, right, we could see that Gaethje's got the edge in strength of schedule, but we can just kind of like look through the names, right? Ever since he came in his first fight with Michael Johnson, then it's Eddie Alvarez, future champion, Dustin Poirier, champion, James Vick, Edson Barboza, Donald Cerrone, El Kukui. Then he loses to Khabib, like everybody does. And then he beats Michael Chandler. I mean, these are 6 very impressive wins over guys with a 75-48 record on the aggregate. And the guys that he's losing to have a record of 37 wins and 9 losses. And all 3 of them have had gold around their waist in the UFC at one time or another. Wow. Very, very good strength of schedule. And then, we go up to Charlie Olives, and he's fought everybody, and I mean, even going back in the day, his first UFC win was against Darren Elkins. And then he beats Escudero, Wisely, Brookins, Andy Ogle, Hatsu Hayoki, Jeremy Stevens, Nick Lentz, Miles Jury, Ill Will Brooks, Clay Guida. Yeah, and then I named all these guys too, Yagos and Miller and all these guys. So, I mean, the guy's on a 10-fight win streak.
Crazy.
And he gets a lot of control time. I mean, you see him even back in the day getting 357 seconds of control time against Hioki, who's a good grappler out of 572, 322 against Stevens. He can get those control time seconds, those over 50%, of control time in a fight that's going to make him almost impossible to beat because, you're immediately defensive when you're on the ground with this guy, whether you're on top of him or underneath him, you have to be defensive at all times. Otherwise, he's a danger to finish the fight.
Yeah, for sure. Both these guys have fought phenomenal competition. Yeah, this fight's so good. I'm curious in the chat, what do you guys think? What is your pick for this fight? What are you looking at from a betting perspective? And well, Weezy, I told you I'm really looking forward to playing. The fight doesn't get the decision, but it looks like FanDuel is screwing us once again. Nothing new from FanDuel Sportsbook as of late. They kind of been screwing us there. Looks like they open up the fight doesn't get the decision at minus 460, which is by far by a mile the worst price out there. 5 Dimes sitting at minus 285. Betway even has minus 400. Bet Rivers has minus 360, but no, it's FanDuel that has minus 460, which is the only line that I can play. Yeah, 5 Dimes minus 285. That's nuts. The over-under looks like it's set at 2.5 rounds across the market, or 1.5 rounds as well. The over 1.5 minus 185, the under 1.5 plus 155, the over 2.5 plus 110, under 2.5 is minus 130, and this is on 5 Dimes as well. So yeah, I like violence in this spot, but Vandal did a good job. I mean, you got to give him some props. I mean, they priced it right. Minus 460 is right. Minus 280 is not, right?
Yeah, and I mean, getting the main event props out on a Sunday is a great job, but when they do that, they're just going to screw you. Because, I mean, like, when did they get the Vera props out? Like Wednesday or something like that? Some pathetic thing like that we had to wait for them to open up the main event prop. Same thing with Bet Online. So I'm a little bit salty at all these books right now, Brady. I mean, I just keep wishing that I had a 5 Dimes account, because those guys are on it. Their lines are out first. They're taking bets. They're giving you intriguing lines. We could have got Jotko by decision last week at what, plus 240 on 5 Dimes. I mean, like that's like robbery. A guy who has one finish win in 10 UFC wins, and you're getting, and he's minus 170, and you're getting plus 240 on the decision prop. So we need to get a 5 Dimes account. But I mean, it's really, dude, if this fight goes the full 25 minutes, it might be the best damn fight of the decade. Like, no bullshit. It could be that good, because these guys are incredible. I mean, Gaethje and Oliveira are so high level and so good at what they do that if this fight went the full 25 minutes, it might be one of the best fights that the UFC has ever had.
I think it still will be a phenomenal fight, but yeah, 25 minutes is a long time. I think 15 minutes in this fight is going to be a long time. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. By the way, if we had a 5 Dimes account, we'd be doing this video on a yacht right now.
You got that right.
Yeah, I mean, on a pile of cash. It'd be, oh my gosh.
It would be so good. I just need a 5 Dimes account, with 4 figures, 5 figures in it. Just, that's what I want for Christmas. That's what I want for Christmas.
That's the dream. MV liking Oliveira. Victor saying Oliveira by sub. We'll touch on some of these props as well. We'll go through them all. Prince liking that 234 Charles Oliveira sub. And yeah, I think you mentioned it was like plus 270, something like that.
I think it was plus 340 actually. Plus 340. Is what he got.
Yeah, that's very interesting. David saying Gaethje by KO round 1 or 2. I'd be very interested in the fight doesn't start round 4. Okay, we'll touch on those. And I did see that Gaethje round 1, round 2 KO prop. I want to say it was like plus 210, something like that. See what else you guys are saying in here. Biker saying the Gaethje dog money is tempting. Yeah, the money is pouring in on Oliveira as we speak.
Yeah.
David saying, what is the line by the fight ends in KO? I think that's very viable if takedowns are hard to come by. So the fight ends in KO on FanDuel Sportsbook is plus 140. And of course, with that, you do got to worry about the Charles sub, but you don't got to worry about anything else. I mean, fight ends in KO plus 140. Any thoughts on that?
What was the Charles by sub?
Fight ends in KO.
Oh, fight ends in KO. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't touch it just because I'm on Oliveira here. I do like Oliveira to win this fight, and I think that it's very likely that he's just going to try to take this guy down. And even if he can't take it down, he can pull guard or he can get the back standing. Charles Oliveira doesn't have to complete a takedown to sub Justin Gaethje. Yeah. I just didn't like. I mean, once that fight got to the ground, I remember being like, "Oh boy, Gaethje doesn't look good down here." And I mean, you could tell by the way he doesn't ever try to get takedowns that he would much rather stand with everybody. He doesn't want to be on the ground. And Charles Oliveira is a really bad opponent if you don't want to be on the ground. So I wouldn't bet fight ends by KO because I really do believe the submission is very live.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Brady saying Oliveira club and sub. Banana saying what a fight and what a fight indeed. Wait, why doesn't he just make a 5 Dimes account? It's not legal at the moment in the US. Not sure why, but I used to have a 5 Dimes account like a couple of years ago, but they took it away for some reason.
Yeah, they just like locked everybody out like from the United States, right?
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah, it was. We would have one if we could. It's one of those things. It's like it's just, for some reason you just can't get one if you're in the States.
Yeah, I think Nick can get Alexander can get a 5 Dimes account. So yeah, Nick, your champagne, cocaine, bikini. I like it. Sponsored by 5 Dimes. I love it.
I'd love to be doing this show from a yacht, man. How awesome would that be?
Maybe one day. Dave, are you being serious? The owner of 5 Dimes got kidnapped and killed. Are you being serious? My goodness.
I don't know, man. I did not hear that.
Oh my goodness.
You
Something
never
happened.
know, man.
Oh yeah. So let's take a look at the rest of these props. Let's see. We have Gaethje wins by KO plus 210. Oliveira wins by submission plus 155. Like, I think those are the two most likely outcomes. Oliveira by KO plus 750. Let's take a look at the round props. We have Gaethje to win in round 1 is plus 600. Gaethje to win in round 2 plus 750. Oliveira to win in round 1 plus 380. Oliveira round 2 plus 550. Oliveira round 3 is plus 1200. Other than that, the fight won't start round 5 on 5 dimes is minus 240. The fight won't start round 5 on FanDuel is minus 350. The fight won't start round 4 on 5 dimes is minus 375. And the fight won't start round 4 on FanDuel is minus 225. And we talked about the fight as a good decision already. Any props that are like really sticking out to you, Weezy?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fight doesn't go to decision because I don't want. I mean, I think like that guy said that the fight ends by KO is absolutely live because Oliveira's got KOs. I mean, he's finished 3 wins by KO in the UFC, and he's got 28% knockout rate overall. He could get a ground and pound knockout, absolutely. And and like I say, because you're worrying about the takedown so much, he's liable to land a big shot on the feet too. So. I just think that the fight doesn't go as if you can get it better than minus 400, it'd be a nice parlay piece. And there's some fairly big favorites on this card that you could parlay them with. You could, if you think Ferguson's washed, for instance, you could parlay it with Chandler. You could, there's other guys too. I mean, there's other fights, there's other favorites that you could parlay it with. I just love that. And so I'll be looking at the under 2.5. Maybe the fight doesn't start round 4. Fight doesn't start round 5. I think those are both interesting. But yeah, it's violence. It's just got to be violence here.
It's got to be violence. And I told you before the show, Oliveira in 29 UFC fights, he's been over 2.5 rounds only 4 times. That means his fights are finishing under 2.5 rounds 87% of the time.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, and it's not hard to believe when you watch the tape on this guy. He always comes out, fast. It doesn't take him long to get warmed up, man. He's coming out there. And the same thing with Gaethje. Gaethje's just throwing hammers from the word go.
Yeah. Just the way these guys fight. It's stylistically as well. It's hard to see this fight going far. Like, if this fight hits the mat in any type of way, Oliveira is going to sub him. I think on the mat, Oliveira is going to have a massive advantage. And then on the feet, I think both guys are live to hurt the other guy. Oliveira has really good power. Gaethje has really good power. Both guys have been hurt a lot throughout their career. So, yeah, I mean, I think this fight ends more often than not, but not a hot take, especially with FanDuel saying minus 460, which I'm not happy about. I've been refreshing it all weekend, and they gave me a minus 460. Come on. So hopefully DraftKings Bet Online helps us out a little bit. But yeah, fight doesn't go. Parlay piece, really solid.
Yep. Absolutely agreed. Other than that, I mean, if you're betting Gaethje, bet him to win by KO because he's not subbing Charles Oliveira, so and I don't think he's going to win minutes here, to be honest with you. I mean, I see that there's just Oliveira's been very successful getting fights into grappling when he wants it there. And like I said, I don't even think he needs a takedown. I think he can just pull guard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like it. So let's take a look at the odds and then give our final pick on our favorite bet, and then we'll head out of here. So the odds look to be Oliveira opened up minus 200, like we talked about on Stat Diggers. It went to minus 1260 and then went to minus 178. I don't know what happened there. And then Gaethje opened up plus 175. He went to plus 835 for a second, and then went to plus 153. Bootsy liking Gaethje, of course. But yeah, I
think at plus 835 is what he's saying. He's like, he wants that line, man. I want that line.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with Bootsy. I know Bootsy's been hot. It's gonna be tough going against Bootsy, but I think I like Oliveira here. Minus 178. I just think there's better ways to play it than laying the money line. Like, if you like Oliveira inside the distance, I'm wondering what that is. It covers the KO and the sub. Oliveira inside the distance, yeah, plus 125, plus 100. Like, I like that.
Yeah, I think that's the way I would go here. I think that's probably the most intriguing line that's actually bettable, where you're not laying minus 450, where you got to max bet something to win 1 unit. Oliveira inside the distance at plus money. Of course, 5 dimes has the best line. I mean, you just look at all that red under 5 dimes. They have the best line on every goddamn bet, every one, and we don't have access to it. Like a couple of moops. We're sitting here trying to comb DraftKings and FanDuel and Bet Online, and they're all racing to see who can get it out last and take the least amount of risk. What a bunch of bums. We deserve so much better than this, man. But at least we got a great main event.
Yes.
That's going to be like, an absolute car crash. These guys are so much fun. I can't wait to see Oliveira and Gaethje. I want to see which one of these guys is going to be committing to pressuring on the feet. I think that Oliveira, if he's smart, I think he's going to try to get this fight to the ground. I'm calling bullshit on Charles Oliveira when he says that he wants to stand and try. I call bullshit. I think you're fucking lying, Charles. I think you're going to try to take him down, and I think that's exactly what you should try to do.
I like it. I'm calling it as well. I think he absolutely tries to get the fight down to the mat. Chester Sam going Oliveira in the under 3.5 rounds. I know. I think either FanDuel or DraftKings does these parlays where you can actually parlay the over with the fighter or the under with the fighter. Like for example, Jocko, like over 1.5 parlay with Jocko last week was, I know somebody said it was like minus 110, something like that, something crazy like that. But yeah, I know you can do that. Like Oliveira parlayed with the under 3.5, for example. I think that's pretty solid there as well. Mbe saying, who's the ass shaving? Well, Mbe, you're going to have to wait till Tuesday. I'm sure at this point, Weezy probably doesn't even know who he's going to pick. So
I don't even know yet, man. I don't even know. So, yeah, we're going to have to find out on Tuesday night. But, yeah, I got to redeem myself. You guys, I had 11 correct ass shavings in a week that got snapped by my guy, Andre Philly, this week. I picked him to shave the ass of Joe Anderson Brito. And you couldn't really have been any more spectacularly wrong than I was on that. I mean, that was the most one-sided fight on the card, and I got it completely wrong.
Hey, it happens in first round knockouts. They happen, but yeah, you'll bounce back. 11 fight streak. You said 11 ass shaving streak.
Yeah, 11 in a row that just got snapped. So I got to hope that I don't go on a losing streak now. So I'm going to be up by lantern light tonight, tomorrow night, tossing and turning in bed, trying to figure out a way that I can make this happen for sure this week. Get out of the hole, get right back onto another winning streak.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of ass shaving candidates on this card. Last week was tough, but there's a lot of candidates. And I think Monk just posted on Twitter that he's actually picking, Computer Monk is picking 12 out of 15 fights to finish. So some violence, and I like that.
I could see that. I could certainly see that on this card. We were talking about it a lot on Stat Diggers.
Oh, yeah. Ron saying off to watch Stat Diggers. Thank you, Ron. Go check that out. It was a pretty fun show. See if we missed anything in here. Yeah, 11 asses were shaved, and hopefully there's another one shaved this week. I'm sure there will be in Weezy We Trust as always. But yeah, Weezy, we broke it down. The tail of the tape, the experience, striking, grappling. I think we covered all of it. Strength of schedule, the bets, all the good stuff. I think we're both on the Gaethje, or we're both on the Oliveira side. Boots is on the Gaethje side. We're on the Oliveira side, and we're thinking Oliveira inside the distance. You have a round that you like. I'm kind of thinking, honestly, like round 1 or round 2. I think it's fairly early. Any round that's sticking out to you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be early if he gets to the grappling. And I think if he doesn't, I think Gaethje is going to attritionally beat him up and probably get him by the late 3rd round at the latest. And that's if Charles has no success getting this fight to the ground and controlling some minutes down there and getting it into the grappling.
Yep. Sounds good to me. So yeah, we did it. 40 minutes. I got to go do my workout. I have 50 minutes to hit my goal. I do like a goal on my Apple Watch, my fitness goal. I need to go hit that. And I have about 500 calories to burn. So I need to get running really fast. So yeah, we did it. Guys, go check out Stat Diggers if you have not yet. Leave a like on the main event deep dive as well. Go check out Uncle Weezy. Uncle Weezy, I know you're going live Tuesday for Just a Tip. Are you doing any Balls Deeps this week?
Yeah, I'm going to do a Balls Deep breakdown tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Central Time on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. The early lean for me is going to be that Chaos Williams against Randy Brown fight. I think that's such a great matchup, such a fun one to talk about. And I'm being a little bit selfish because I want to watch all the Chaos Williams and Randy Brown tape because both of those guys are in super fun fights. And some of those wins recently recently by Chaos Williams over Semmelsberger, and you know, like Baeza, good wins. So I'm really looking forward to watching the tape on that. But yeah, just a tip, Tuesday night. Check me out on my channel, Uncle Weezy, right here on the MMA Engine for Thursday night probability, which I'll be doing with my guy Lou Betcha. Yeah, and then you know, just we got to stack cash tickets like flapjacks this week. It's a pay-per-view. It's the best card we've had in a month. We got to make some money, Brady.
Yeah, and I'm telling you guys, be sure to check out Probability on Thursday. This show is the next big thing. It's my favorite show of the week. First, it was Stat Diggers. That was my favorite show of the week. Now it is actually Probability, and it's getting better and better each week. I think we're, breaking it down better and better each week. It's getting easier for me to kind of, understand what's going on with the probability model and stuff, and you're improving it each week, Weezy, and that's awesome. So yeah, Probability Thursday. Tune in. I sadly will not be here, but I'll be checking it out sometime during the week. So make sure you guys tune into that. Leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. We'll talk to you very soon, and good luck for UFC 274